All right, let's jump straight into it. Today, we are going to completely dismantle one of the most classic, hotly debated topics in personal finance. I'm talking about buying versus leasing a car. We're going to dig into some pretty stark, real-world data from our source to show you exactly why the way we think about getting a vehicle is, well, kind of completely backwards. Get ready because the way you look at car dealerships is about to change forever.
So picture this. You're just sitting in traffic on a random Tuesday afternoon, right? And the car right in front of you is a brand new BMW X5, still rocking the dealer plates. The driver looks, I don't know, maybe 32 years old, wearing a standard work jacket, and he's just munching on a gas station hot dog. And your brain instantly does that thing it always does. It tries to solve the math. You can't help but ask the fundamental question, how does that guy actually afford that BMW? I mean, the car is literally 90 grand. The hot dog is 90 cents. The math just doesn't add up.
Well, here's the dirty little secret. He can't afford it. He just signed a 36-month piece of paper that lets him pretend he can. And you better believe, somewhere across town, a dealership finance manager is literally high-fiving himself because he closed that deal in under an hour. You see, this whole industry has built a trap specifically designed to keep you from asking the right questions about your wealth.
To really understand this trap, we got to look at the absolutely jarring baseline of today's car market. $49,275. Let that number sink in for a second. That is the record average cost of a new vehicle in America right now. And here's the kicker. That's not for a fancy luxury vehicle. That's just the average car. It's the car next to you in traffic, the one your coworker drives.
And because the cars are just that incredibly expensive, it leads us right to this shocking figure. $767. That's the record average monthly payment. Our source points out that more than 1 in 5 new car buyers, so over 20% of people, are inexplicably signing up for monthly payments over $1,000. $1,000 every single month for a rapidly depreciating asset. I mean, think about it. If someone spent $1,000 a month on shoes, you'd think they had a serious problem. But with cars, society just kind of nods along.
Section 1. The dealership illusion. Let's break it down.
The literal second you walk through those dealership doors, you become the prize in a totally rigged game. The finance manager slides this little calculator across the desk with 2 circled numbers, say a lease for $612 or a buy for $767, and manipulates you into comparing those 2 terrible monthly numbers instead of the actual financial products you're signing your life away on. So let's start with leasing. I absolutely love this quote from our source because it brilliantly illustrates what leasing actually is. It says, you're renting the depreciation. Imagine paying for how much the hotel carpet wore down. Because when you lease, you aren't paying for a vehicle at all. You're just footing the bill for the massive chunk of value that car loses while it sits in your driveway. You are literally paying the difference between the new car price and its much lower value 3 years later, plus, a whole bunch of fees tacked on. Now let's look at the grand illusion of the cheap lease. Think of a guy named Dave. Dave proudly tells you he scored this amazing $299 a month Billboard lease special. But Dave's reality? It's actually $410 a month. Why? Because Dave conveniently forgot about the $4,000 check he had to write as a down payment at signing just to get that heavily advertised low payment. Honestly, Dave doesn't actually know what his lease costs.
And man, the hits just keep coming with leases. Look at all these hidden traps just waiting for you at the end. Most leases have a strict 12,000 mile per year limit, but the average American naturally drives about 13,500 miles. So statistically, you're going to go over. And when you do, boom, they hit you with 15 to 30 cents per extra mile. Add on the wear and tear fees for, just regular driving, disposition fees. You finally hand back the keys thinking you're totally free, and then 3 weeks later this massive bill shows up in your mailbox like a horror movie sequel nobody asked for.
Section 2. The buying trap.
So if leasing is basically a scam, buying must be the smart move, right? Well, welcome to the buying trap. The auto industry desperately wants you to believe that buying a new car is the safe, traditional, wealth-building choice of the 1990s. But the reality today? It's functionally just leasing but with way worse paperwork. Let me show you exactly why. 68.94 months. That's almost 6 years. That is the average new car loan length right now. And get this, 20% of loans are stretching out to 84 months. That is 7 full years. To put that in perspective, a 7-year car loan statistically outlives the average American marriage. Yeah, you heard me. You will literally be making payments on this car after the relationship you started while owning it has ended. There's just something deeply broken about a financial product that outlives the relationships it witnesses.
And while you're grinding away paying off that endless loan, consider the falling piano of depreciation. In just the first 3 years alone, a new car loses roughly 40% of its value. It's wild. And during those exact same first 3 years, your payments are primarily going straight toward heavy interest, not even touching the principal. You are handing over thousands to the bank, while the car itself just plummets in value.
This whole dynamic leads straight to this horrifying number right here, $7,214. Let's bring in a guy named Mike. Mike goes to trade in his 2-year-old truck only to find out he actually owes more on the loan than the truck is even worth. He's what they call underwater. And right now, 29% of trade-ins are underwater, by an all-time record average of $7,214. So what does our guy Mike do? He rolls that negative equity into his next, even longer car loan. He is now literally driving in debt to himself. Okay, I want to pause the rapid-fire math for just a second to look at the real stakes here. Because this isn't just about me telling you to go drive some boring beater car. This is about securing your family's entire financial trajectory. That hefty car payment dictating your life, it's the difference between having a totally stress-free Christmas budget, being able to retire on time, or actually helping your kids avoid crushing college debt. This is fundamentally about whether you have financial options in your life or not.
Now, to stay completely impartial here, there are actually 3 very specific scenarios outlined by our source where leasing is, in fact, the right call. Number 1, business owners, where the tax write-offs actually beat the depreciation deductions. Number 2, you're buying a super high-end luxury car that depreciates like it was literally thrown off a cliff, so you just let the dealer eat that massive loss. Or number 3, you simply must have a brand new car every 3 years, and you fully accept that it's a very expensive lifestyle choice, not a financial one.
Section 3. The winning strategy. Let's talk solutions.
For absolutely everyone else, though, we really need a paradigm shift. The goal here is no longer just acquiring a nice car. The goal is minimizing wealth destruction. The car is a depreciating asset that demands a monthly tribute. So we need a financial play to feed it as little money as possible while still getting exactly where we need to go. And that whole strategy starts with this realization. When you buy a 2 to 3-year-old used car, someone else has already absorbed the worst of that depreciation cliff. Whoever bought that $45,000 car brand new already ate about $18,000 in depreciation over those first few years. As our source puts it so perfectly, someone out there paid $18,000 for an air freshener. They paid for the privilege of the new car smell. You can be the person who didn't.
So here it is, the specific, actionable recipe to actually beat the dealership system. Step 1, buy a 2 to 3-year-old version of the exact car you want. Step 2, finance it on a much shorter 48-month loan. And step 3, and honestly this is the absolutely crucial part, keep the car for 5 or more years after it's totally paid off. Because every single month after that loan ends is a month you keep hundreds of dollars right in your own pocket. We're talking years of glorious zero car payments.
Let's look at this massive aha moment in what we'll call a 9-year showdown. Path 1. You lease continuously for 9 years. You spend about $77,000 total, and at the end, you own absolutely nothing. Path 2, you buy new on a 72-month loan and keep it a few extra years. You end up spending $61,000 and own a heavily used car. But look at Path 3. You buy used, finance for 48 months, and keep it for 9 years total. You only spend about $40,000, and you still own a car with some actual equity. I mean, Path 3 utterly destroys the other options.
But wait, because the savings don't stop at just the direct costs. $70,000. That is the staggering real wealth gap created over a single decade. Because if you take the money you saved in Path 3, all those years with zero car payments, and invest it at just modest returns instead of handing it over to a dealership, you end up $70,000 richer. Let that sink in. One decision made one time sitting in front of a finance manager literally changes your net worth by $70,000.
And this really brings us to our final takeaway. Ignore the dealership's manipulative calculator. Don't envy the guy in the new BMW eating the hot dog. He's probably just a few years away from being totally underwater on a massive loan. The truly rich move, it isn't flashy. It's parked right there in a driveway, totally paid off, and it's quietly making its owner wealthier